My new favorite thing to do is to tag Dave Ramsey in quotes that he didn't say. Like, when times are hard. When times are hard, put it on the card. Dave Ramsey.
So, welcome to IdeaDrop. Do you think Sports Illustrated should be a scratch and sniff? Do you think Elvis should have died 10 years earlier? Do you think what happened with FTX is perfectly ethical? Well, we have a show for you that basically says all of that is bullshit. No. We do things like give you ideas that will help you quit your day job and confuse all your friends. So if you want to learn how to owner finance your owner financing business, please stick around. Kendall, how are you today?
Will you be in my down leg for the owner finance that owner finances?
No, you've tried to sign me up three times. I'm not doing it.
All right. I still think there's a down line for you. So your intros are crazy. Hey. So it's good to see you. It's been a crazy week.
It has been.
Yep. We've been trying to keep up with our own tail. I do feel like that dog that has not stopped spinning yet. I think in aggregate, I have like 20 hours of sleep across the last 7 days. It's not enough.
No, that's not enough.
No, it's not enough.
Not at all.
But I'm really jacked up on caffeine today. This is my second quad shot. Fun fact about caffeine. Let's go with Starbucks. Starbucks has about 55 milligrams of caffeine per shot. So I'm about 420 in.
I want to see what
420 in. And that is at a 10-hour half-life. I'm still going to have a quad shot in my body 10 hours from now, which will be bedtime, way past bedtime. So I also have a quad shot in my system at 10 p.m. tonight.
I'm looking up the relative ratios between 400 milligrams of caffeine and cocaine, and I'm going to get you some answers real fast.
Okay.
That's really
Dustin, everybody.
Here we go. Hey, I've got a quick idea, though. I want to start off with this idea. Okay.
Relative to cocaine?
Kind of.
Scratch and sniff.
Here's what I think. I think there should be a WebMD that's specifically made for men, and you just go on there, and it just tells you you're fine. It's okay. And then you're probably not that bad.
WebMD for men.
WebMD for men. So you could be dying of cancer, and it's like,
could be worse.
You're there.
This is bad.
No, it's a good idea. I could run ads on it.
That's one of the options.
Oh, yeah.
This is bad. And you're like, honey, it's bad.
It's bad.
And then
that's so funny.
Can I give your eulogy?
If
Emma doesn't want to?
Yeah, actually, no, you have full permission. You can give she'll say something heartfelt, I hope,
after the eulogy.
and then you can do the thing after that follows up.
All right.
No, dude, my dad, he had advanced cancer. He goes to the doctors, and they're like, you're going to die. And he's like, nah, I'm probably fine. And he lived through it. He's totally great. So we need WebMD for people like that.
Is that why you don't cry?
Dude, let me... It's probably true. No, let me tell you this. I was living in Asia at the time, and I come home to my dad, and I shave off my hair because I'm all like... I'm excited for, to be supportive. And I get there, my dad has a full head of hair. And so I'm walking through SFO just like this bald 22-year-old schmuck. It's embarrassing when you do something nice for people that you love. Anyways, WebMD for men. We should do that.
WebMD for men. Okay.
Do you think it would work?
I do, and I think we should see if Kai wants to be in on that because I think this is actually very doable with a no-code developer you were talking
Kai's
about.
awesome. And the no...
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's what's happened.
Hackathon, Mr. Hackathon.
We've been meeting people from Instagram DMs who have skills. I have a certain set of skills. Shout out to Liam Neeson. There is a high likelihood that we can get small businesses off the ground for no cash and just like have cash splits with people that pretty much expect all of these to fail, except for it's really fun and we don't really fail because we get to share the content. So like even if we lose some of our time or a little bit of money, it's like paying time and money for content.
Yeah.
And it's really good content. So he made the Rent-A-Tub. What is it?
Yeah, it's...
Tub Buddy.
Tub Buddy.
No, Spa Drop. He rebranded it to Spa Drop. Did you not see this?
No, I haven't seen it. Did he drew it yesterday?
He did it. Go
so
to your
for context,
Instagram.
last week, I came up with the idea of there should be seasonal spa rentals, right? So at my house, I just want to rent a spa for 5 months.
And then I said, this is a terrible idea with lots of problems,
but TikTok
we can solve all of them.
Yeah.
And we had a nice discussion over solving those problems, including things that electrical engineers got mad at us for. So then he goes, hey guys, we talked about this one is getting traction. I think that clip was like 3,000 views for like a week. And then it went to 60,000 views suddenly because of the algorithm change of TikTok. And so we're like, hey Kai, if you want to make a logo for this, you pick the name, then we'll shout it out on ours and you can share that content on your thing. And he's a graphic designer and he speeds up. So if you go to our Instagram, I guess you could see
The spot drop.
You'll see his logos. It's hilarious. Do you see it?
No, I didn't look it up yet.
It looks like it has a parachute and it's dropping off a spa. And it's like a solar. One guy said if you do this with 110 blow up spas and you do it with a little solar battery kit combo, then people could rent it through the cold season. We can pick it up and we'll rent it to you next year.
Okay, did you see?
Love it.
So we did that. He does the logo. Then a guy sends us a spreadsheet. He does forecasting for businesses.
That's right. Different guy.
Yeah, totally different guy. Unprompted. We didn't say do this. He's like, I actually think this could pencil, and here's how. And so he sends us
Give
this.
us a 10-year model.
Yeah, a 10-year model, which was awesome. And
I think the break-even point in his model was like 3 years, but I don't think he got in creative financing in there. So I think we can speed it up to like 9 months with financing. Anyways,
this is it. This is Spa Drop.
Spa Drop.
Oh, this is cool. He has it like on a hot air balloon or something like that.
Hey, Carl, in post-edit, could we put Spa Drop's little speed-up thing right here?
This is so dope. I love this.
Yep.
Isn't that cool? I can't wait for this fake business to get off the ground.
Yeah, right. So
great.
we got spadrop.us.
Did you buy the domain?
Yep.
Yes.
Spadrop.us, and we're going to build out a landing page, and we're going to go test the market for Spa Drop. Stay tuned. More behind-the-scenes content like that. We are literally going to put all that in the community.
Yes,
So,
I'm excited about
yeah.
that, which has been fun, by the way.
all that to say, WebMD for men.
WebMD for men.
There's a copyright issue in there, so we have to change the name. But that concept,
Yeah.
we could do that with Kai and some
It would be
people. So if
fun.
you have a skill
Yeah.
and you want to do WebMD for men with us,
This is terribly
Just
sexist
DM
and
us.
awful. I'm just going to freely put that out there.
no. Next we'll do WebMD for women after.
I don't want to go there.
Also sexist. See, that's the problem. You can't label anything anymore.
If you're equally offending, then it's generally
We are
okay.
equal offenders.
Yes.
Oh, equaloffenders.com.
That's got to be already taken.
Yeah, we'll look into it.
Offend me.
All right.
Offendme.com. That could be a
Let's
thing.
move on. Can I do book club?
Please.
Okay. So I once read a book called The Starfish and the Spider, and I'm buying this for my team right now. So I've got maybe 5 people in mind on my leadership team that I'm getting this book for. Starfish and the Spider. And we'll put a link up, I don't know, somewhere in the bio or something. But it was about the takeover of Napster, of the billion-dollar
Dude,
conglomerate
that's a
of music,
great story.
right?
A really good story.
And then it not only tells like how the decentralized offshore Napster creator with pirating, with fractional data, like that dethrones the here, buy a CD, multi-billion-dollar conglomerates of label makers. They attach that concept to the Apache Indians preventing Cortez from taking over Mexico and Texas. So they had taken so you've got the Spaniards come in and they conquer central, the Babylonian empires, and they start tearing them down. Why are you smiling?
I'm just excited
You're
about
listening.
this story. I'm so excited about
Okay,
this.
they're getting them, like you get the king or whatever it was, the chief, the elders all sick and they die, or you just kill them and they die. Yeah. And then the society crumbles into nothing because it wasn't around a culture. It was around like a hierarchy. Mm-hmm. It was central control. Well, then they came across the Apache Indians. They also wanted that land. Took them 100 years. They fought for 100 years and could never do it. And they had taken down 1,500-year-old dynasties in a couple years. And the study was because Apache Indians get pissed off culturally when you wipe out a tribe or a village. And and there was no central hierarchy, so you couldn't cut the head off. So that messed with the Westerners' minds, and they would get raided at night by the other Apache tribes. And it just was too painful for too long. They just gave up and they packed up. 100 years later, they didn't win. The Spaniards didn't get that area. So today when we go visit Texas, it's because of the Apache Indians that it's not like Spain. It's fascinating. So Starfish and the Spider is about, should you have centralized things where you can cut off a head with legs? Mm-hmm. That's a spider. Mm-hmm. Starfish, if you cut off a leg, it regrows a body. And that's what Napster did. And it's really hard to make money in that. So it's really hard. It's really easy to have chaos and anarchy and do that. You can culturally do that. We've got lots of like hackers who do that. How do you make a hybrid organization is the end of the book. So how do you take these concepts of dispersed culture versus centralized, and you let the disbursement of tribes make their own cultures?
Is this something that you would say you would recommend within business, as in not doing
This
the
is
pyramid?
a business book.
A business book.
Yeah. So
That
this
happens
is
to involve
this is a
violence.
better way for the future, in my opinion. I read this book like 15 years ago, and it very much applies to
So
how
is
I'm
it
building.
challenging the current structure of business, basically?
Yes.
And would you agree? I
100%.
mean, within how you've built your businesses, does that ring true?
That's exactly what we're doing. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And I just haven't labeled it this way, but that's why I'm ready to get the book for my leadership team. Like, we're doing it this way.
Yeah.
Elements of this way. And I think lots of companies can do it. I think like growth through acquisition. Like, lots of people are like, how do I scale a sales team?
Mm-hmm.
Well, why didn't you ask a question like, how do I buy my competitor? Like, there's so many ways to challenge centralized control and still have growth.
Dude,
and
growth through acquisition is a really big thing, actually. If I was to start a company and that company was kind of stalling, I wouldn't try to start new product lines or anything like that. I would just find my competitor and say, hi, can I buy you?
I got Dave on this yesterday.
Did you really?
So
Like something.
So if you buy a business and you do a proper investigation before you acquire it, which if you're buying a business, like typically there's processes for underwriting those. If it gets through underwriting, you do it and you merge it in. It's a 1% failure rate. Compare that to entrepreneurialism.
Are you serious?
I am serious.
Are you serious? This is insane.
I'll have to go get the study because people are going to call that bullshit. So I'll have
That
to
sounds
post
like
the link.
bullshit, but I
It
love
sounds
that
like
idea.
bullshit. So I'm going to have to get the link to the study.
I'm never starting a business again. My whole life is around starting businesses. You just spoiled that for me. That's terrible.
And I just gave you math.
That's what it is. Should we talk about the exciting special?
The elephant in the room?
The elephant in the room.
All right.
Metaphorically speaking, we have. We have.
This is the only time
This
we've
is
caught
awkward.
Dustin off guard.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, I just
It
wouldn't
is
say
hard
that.
to make him uncomfortable.
All right, friends, loved ones, family, and mom. Let me introduce you to Michael Miller. Michael, say hello to the folks at home.
Hello.
Michael, will you tell us a little bit about yourself? I'd give you an intro,
well,
but you know you better than me.
So wait, I'll intro you first to just,
okay,
and
go
then
for
you intro you better,
Okay.
right? So I'll do the
At
worst
what
job.
point do I make the elephant noise?
God, I was just like,
can
this
do
is
it
the
now.
worst thing you could have. That's hilarious.
Why is it the worst,
Wow,
Dustin?
why,
Tell me
Dustin?
why.
Because elephants are known to be very forgetful, and you are not forgetful at all.
That's impressive.
Wow.
That was an impressive
Wow,
spin. I
he's good
accept
at
that. I offer.
Spin
I allow forgiveness because of that spin.
All right, here's why we wanted Michael on the podcast. So we got a bunch of different friends, and we'd love to talk to all of our friends on the podcast, but some of them don't fit the brand. We're trying to help people quit their 9-to-5s. We're trying to help people who are running businesses make them bigger. We are kind of going, hey, there's another way to approach living life, and you don't have to be a slave to the wage. You don't have a, when I'm working hourly, I feel like somebody's throwing quarters at my head every 5 minutes. Like, did
does
you
feel
earn
like
it?
that, yeah.
Did you earn it? Did you earn it? Did you earn it? I feel judged per minute. So, Michael is bringing this fresh take on the same, kind of to the same audience, but on finances specifically. You have a big banking background. You're an investor in a bunch of ventures. You bought businesses and real estate. You have a real estate development company. Some have failed. Some are going well. All of that is welcome here. But then you started figuring out how to bumble around on TikTok.
Yes.
It's cute. You need a better microphone. It's $300. I'll send you a link.
You don't like my iPhone audio quality?
I didn't love it. No, Michael.
I have an influencer ring light though. Does that count?
You're
Counts.
an influencer
Counts.
now.
Well, I've always been an influencer, Kendall. Come
You
on.
can afford the microphone that I send you the link of. So it'll plug into your iPhone. You don't
wow.
even need you can still DIY.
This is
fine.
incredible.
Whenever you feel inspired, you could be on the toilet and go boom and get the good quad. You can go boom on the toilet.
Okay.
So
Stupid.
a really good
anyways,
start.
there's also you've got an interesting nonprofit background to me. Yeah. So you're one of these people who are crosses verticals. And I think we have an eclectic audience, an eclectic show. And the main goal of our show is to open up I guess, windows on how.
This is great. We've never talked about the main goal of our show. What are we doing, actually? What the hell is this?
What I like about our show, and maybe you like something different, is we look at different industries, different ways to create value or make money. And sometimes people just need to know what the options are so they can choose what's best for them.
Sure.
So if we expose a bunch of those in small ways without over-explaining everything, if we just mansplain those, then people can kind of index the market. So no matter their upbringing, they could go, oh, maybe I don't have to go to college and do this. Or if they are in college, maybe they want to do a career swap because there's a better way to,
I think what you guys are doing is education. I mean, because to me, that's what this is. Because like, I don't have a college background, but I became...
You don't?
No, I didn't go to college.
Hey, me neither.
I barely...
He did.
I'm the schmuck.
I know.
How in debt are you? Are you still paying that off?
No, Biden is.
No, that got blocked, homie, and I don't want to talk about that.
Oh,
Yeah, you're screwed.
I was slow.
Wait, so yes.
That hurts.
So Dustin still has college loans.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously college is a big controversial topic, but what I think you guys are doing is education, because what the deficit in business is today is not money, it's education, it's knowledge. And so to your point, I think what you guys are doing is just raising awareness of what the options are, and that's way more valuable than college.
Okay, I like
We're more valuable than college. Wait, should we be charging people $40,000 a year to listen to our show?
37 a quarter.
Okay.
Holy shit. Are you kidding me? I paid $37,000 a quarter to learn how to drink. That's awful. Not talk.
So, anyways, all right. Let's start with an idea.
Okay.
And then we'll get into some narrative. But I would like to pitch you some business ideas, and I want your feedback.
Oh, okay.
And Dustin, if you have business ideas,
I thought I was supposed to bring bad business ideas.
Yeah, we'll
we
get
all
there.
are. We can share it.
Okay.
We'll get there. Okay. So I'm going to try to pick something from your industry a little bit. Okay. Within real estate. Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. So let's go real estate. Do you have some Airbnbs yet?
I do.
Okay. So I've done 3 or 4 Airbnbs myself, and then I've got buddies who are doing it at scale. I'm in a short-term rentals private Facebook group where everybody information exchanges on their numbers. We share numbers and what's working. I want to start a chain, and I'm talking to my friend Molly about this, of pet lovers Airbnb, right?
Oh.
All up and down I-5.
Okay.
So the whole thing. So from Mexico to Canada, I would like places where pet lovers can stay. So there is no penalty. In fact, it's encouragement. Like your dog is treated like a king when it walks in.
Oh, interesting.
So a welcome bone, like there's everything. Like
Is there staff at these places?
no. This is just an Airbnb, and you're just traveling.
You're catering to the pet. See, what's interesting about that is what I thought you were saying is that you were going to create Airbnbs that had a bunch of animals in them for people that wanted to just go stay with animals.
That sounds amazing, but also logistically not a good business.
It's like a bad.
I'm trying to make one that can actually make profit. And
Well, a cat house. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Okay. Woofhouse.com. So I'm thinking like, no, my buddy who doesn't have kids just wants to bring his dog, and like all the Airbnbs punish that. So you lean way into it and you make it clear on the title, and you charge 20% more for the nightly rate and you can have an eclectic type of house, but it's going to be hilarious. And all the reviews, you ask them to leave reviews as their pet. So the whole theme needs to be really themed. We would have the boneyard in the backyard. So instead of like trying to be like, oh, I don't want the dog to destroy my backyard for my guests, you go, no, my backyard is a boneyard, which is hilarious because there's a bunch of bones out there. And if your dog wants to take it, you can just buy that bone from us and we'll replace it. So you can just send us some square cash for 25 extra bucks, and your dog can take the bone.
You got $25 bones back there?
Dude, these are
premium bones.
These are primo bones. It's
all right. So I see a number of issues with this.
All right. Tell me.
First of all, I think that the market of people that care to travel with their pet is substantially smaller than the people that are not traveling with their pet.
It's underserved though.
Maybe underserved, but my concern would be if you're marketing an Airbnb towards pet owners or as a pet house, me as somebody who's traveling without my pet would be completely anti looking at that house.
Correct. Nobody would.
So you're saying it's only pet.
And the premise of my argument here is that there is enough traffic in any medium-sized city or big city of exclusively pet owners to book you fully.
However, if I'm a pet owner and I go to a city, I think I could find 1,000, not 1,000, but many, many Airbnbs that are
Correct.
like, yeah, you can have a pet here. You want to bring
As
a
a
dog
matter
in?
of fact, we did this fairly recently. We stayed out on the coast. I booked the list, and this is how I do it. We have a dog that's a non-shedding. It's an Aussie Doodle. He's a little Aussie Doodle. It's a little dog.
Are you speaking in tongues?
You have a cat?
Shandarabahe. And I, what does that even mean? Okay, that's another topic.
What was the dog? It's a shedless. What'd you say?
It's a hypoallergenic non-shedding dog. It's a Aussie Doodle.
Aussie Doodle. Got it. Okay.
And so he's just a little guy. I think he weighs like 10 pounds or something.
Yeah.
He's the worst dog ever. But we stayed in an Airbnb out on the coast, and I booked the Airbnb, and then I came in after the fact, and I was like, hey, by the way, I got this little dog. He doesn't shed or make a mess or do anything.
Dude.
Like, is it cool if I bring him? And they're like, yeah, sure, no problem.
Dude.
That's all it would be. I think it would be that. I don't think you would get enough traffic. If you were to make it the main feature, I don't think it would work, man.
What I think would work, though, is houses filled with animals that you could go visit.
I think your
Come to our
costs
petting
of
zoo.
operations are going to be quite high.
Also,
on that.
animal
I don't know, but
abuse
I'd still
is
go.
not-
I'd love a cat house.
Oh,
That'd be
just
awesome.
okay.
no,
so-
it could double as this is the place you find the future of serial killers because animal abuse will be rampant. And you just put cameras in
So
the house.
actually, we're getting paid by the FBI now behind the scenes to actually.
But we're not supposed
attract
to
and-
say that.
Yeah, no, that's a backroom deal. Okay, so Haven Humane could branch out, and this could be like the pre-kill house.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I like
you
that.
You could actually get your cogs for free.
Oh, for sure. And you could raise. No, you make it at that point. You make it nonprofit.
Cost of goods sold.
Yeah, it was.
Cogs.
Were we concerned about the cogs?
Yeah. So I mean,
So
they
you're saying
could
this should be
also
a pre-kill house. So like these animals are on death row, and so we have to put
But
them
you
in
can
this house.
adopt. But you can adopt them.
No,
so
no,
you go stay in a
this
house
is
for the
better
weekend.
marketing.
Yes.
for Haven
Death
Humane.
row Airbnb. this is what you're talking about.
Airbnb.
But I'm telling you right now, there is a litany of people that would go do that.
Like
So-
I'm gonna go stay with.
Yeah,
with
but I've seen
5
those people, and I
pets.
feel so bad for those people because you go to their house and they have 15 cats.
Yeah, but
14 dogs.
their money spends the same.
Hey,
That's a good point. That's a good point. That's a good point. Okay.
And they don't rescue them for free. We charge them
Justin,
actually for these animals.
Can you pull us up from
I
this
have
train
some
wreck?
ethics problems with this, but it's okay. It's okay. All right, I've got a real business idea for you.
All right, let's go.
I think there should be an a la carte white labeling shipping center. So if I want to start a shipping business, I want to buy something for. Okay, here's how it started. 2 weeks ago, I launched the mystery box business, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've had problems, good things, bad things. One of the problems is I can't a la carte choose what I want to send to a different person. So let's say a person in Nevada wants something for their 15-year-old son and they want to spend $300 on it. I wish I could order something from Amazon, send it to a warehouse, they label it, give it all my branding, and then ship it to them.
They can. This
No,
exists.
not one item. That's the problem.
Oh,
There's no
one
a
at
la
a
carte.
time.
There's no a la carte.
Oh, I don't speak French.
Isn't that Spanish? That's Spanish.
Is it?
Yeah. Well, we're going to have to stop
A la
that first.
carte? No, it's not. It's not Spanish. A la
I mean,
carte.
a la carte. No, it'd be a la carte. Or no, it's
Yeah.
not. It's Carrillo, right?
French, damn it.
Hey,
Well,
I've
screw
never even
that.
been there. You both have.
Yeah.
France or Mexico?
France.
Speaking of Mexico. No. Let's go to this.
Once
So a
upon
la
a time in Mexico.
Never mind. We'll get there. There's some good Mexico stories if we want to get
This
into
is
it.
true.
This is true. Weren't you once held in a Mexican prison for like a couple of nights or maybe a night?
Yeah, and to put on Interpol.
That's
Are
great.
you- wait, are we
let's-
allowed to talk
No,
about
let's
this?
just skip over that. So I want to go to the a la carte shipping business.
No, go back.
No. Well, hold on. First, tell me, do you
Okay.
think do you think this would work? So here's the problem I'm running into in my head. You have to deal with 2 shipping exchanges right there, right? So there's shipping time.
Hold on.
Go
I
here.
want to make sure that I'm understanding what the issue is because you're saying that there is, because I think that there are people that do this. You're saying that they
can't
don't.
find it anywhere.
One at a time.
But what do you mean when you say one at a time? Like you just want like one individual item in a box?
Yes. So I am.
Who wants drop shipping in quantities of one?
Yeah, I want drop shipping in quantities of 1, but I want.
But isn't that literally Amazon?
No. I want Amazon to ship. I want something from Amazon, from Etsy, and from Walmart. I want to ship it to one spot. I want them to repackage it with my brand,
With
and I
his
want to be able to
branding.
do it with one
You want to
item.
Yeah. So
And then that one.
But you just said 3 things.
No. 3 things, 1 box, 1 customer.
Got it. So you want to build Amazon.
Yes. Yeah. I want to build.
Hold on.
just-
They do that with their. They do that for a different purpose. He had an idea come out a couple weeks ago called Mystery Box, and what he's trying to solve
This is great. Solve my business problems, guys.
I know what Dustin's trying to solve here.
Okay, hit me.
He's trying to solve this problem of like, it is a give the gift this Christmas that says, I don't know. It's going to arrive. You won't know what it is. And the person you gave this gift to might be disappointed, but there's always next month. And so it's a subscription.
But how is this different than like these bespoke boxes that are coming out and like
it's random.
It's just totally random. They have themes.
You want to choose specific items for your customer.
Yep.
Yes.
Well, there's a litany of problems with this, my friend.
There's a litany of problems. But he's trying to solve them.
It's so fun. It's fun.
That's where the money's made, by the way.
If you can run to the danger, that's where the money's made.
It's true.
Oh boy, oh boy. A la carte shipping. What do you think? I want to be able to ship. I want to say, hey, Stephanie over here wants this, so I'm shipping 5 items. Hey, this all goes to Stephanie, and they completely rebrand it in my package.
So let's just talk about the costs.
Okay.
So that's the only problem here,
That's
right?
the big problem.
That's the only problem.
Now we're not talking. I own my. Do you own the shipping center?
Like we can get a lease on a warehouse. Like
Yep,
we can
it's
do
great.
that. We can get a worker. We can do that. We can get 5 workers. We can test this. The problem becomes like, can you make the systems efficient enough and the volume big enough with that many customers doing that low quantities? So maybe what it would only work for is something like Mystery Box, where you're actually getting a good deal order quantity.
Yeah.
They just happen to be random items.
Exactly.
Right? So it's a repackaging center.
It's a repackaging
I don't hear a la carte, I hear repackaging center.
I'm still stuck because I feel like what I don't understand is, are you trying to select these items or are you trying to create a marketplace where people can select their own items?
He wants to select.
These are 2 different businesses. The
Right.
business that I'm currently doing is I select the items for a random person, and that person says general parameters. Like, I don't want to be able to, I want to be able to open this around my mom, or this is too dangerous. Don't do, So just general safe parameters, and then I ship them the thing. Now, I don't want to run my own distribution center, but I can't go to a distribution center and say, hey guys, can you just reship this one item, this one package with these 5 items and give it my brand, right? And I can't do that 25 times with 40 different items. That doesn't quite work. And I wish there was a center that you could do that. So I talked about this with our good friend Andrew, and him and I both came to the conclusion that there are too many variables in this, and it's not a good business to run, but it should be a business somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, all the solutions that I can think of involve modifying the objective, or at least modifying the way that we do it, which then essentially becomes a bespoke box again, because what you could do...
So many big words so fast.
I know, I'm so sorry. I got a funny voicemail.
Please talk down to me.
Can I play you a voicemail that's pretty funny on that point?
Yeah.
Right now?
Yeah, do
Literally
it.
right
Put
now.
it up.
I got this voicemail literally yesterday.
Okay.
You're going to love this.
Speaking of big words, Dustin has the gift of eloquency and
No, verbosity.
right.
You are very verbose.
Verbose list.
Phone number is so fast. I had 3 people on it for 3 hours trying to figure it out. So we finally figured out your phone number, but you talk so fast. You lose a lot of real estate. Here's my number. My name is Bob Shaw. My phone number is 916-944.
Oh my gosh.
2549. Repeat.
Listen to him at the end, though. He's really trying to help me.
He is helping you.
2549. Mike, you're going to lose a lot of business, buddy. You talk way too fast. I'll play it back for you. You talk so fast, nobody can make out your number. It took us a long time to find your number.
Oh my god. And then if he was Gen Z,
There's caller ID.
and he was sending that voicemail, then he would have exported that, copy and pasted and looped it, and you would have been there listening for 10 minutes.
Literally, all I called him and said was, hey, you filled out an e-form looking to sell your house. If you want to talk about it, give me a call. Here's my phone number.
That's hilarious. And I imagine you called with your phone, correct?
Correct, which is how he called
Yeah,
me back.
literally,
I would
you
presume.
just look at recent calls. And
Right.
I don't know. He sounds like he might be on a landline, though. I'll give him that.
hilarious.
Hey Bob. Yeah, right. He sounds like he might.
I
wow.
love that.
Hey, what a
Timely opportunity.
That should be
So
a T-shirt or
funny.
a hat. You sound like you have a landline. I
so
like
sad.
that.
That's so sad.
Or my other.
That might be ageist, though.
Oh my gosh.
We can't be anythingist anymore.
Well, I mean, we can be. I just don't know if it's good for the
It's
podcast.
not popular. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not ageist. I love old people.
They're my favorite.
They are more better than young people.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that's a whole nother topic, but we're the worst generation.
We're the worst culture. We have fragmented the generations and we've separated them.
I just want to be a boomer.
That's also a good t-shirt.
I don't know. I just think you're. Nah, no, I like being where I'm at. I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
It's
that
good.
makes sense. Math
Yeah.
checks
It's
out.
a good
It's not
season of
good.
life.
Yeah, math checks out.
It's sad though. But if you, I will say this: if you had graduated in 2008 and you hit the college, like you graduate college at 2008 and you hit the workforce right then when the economic downturn happened, the odds of you being as successful as somebody who graduated 4 years earlier or before, earlier or after, is 1%.
Is that true?
It's sad.
So it's
real.
90.
So that's really
9%
interesting
worse.
because I started my career a little bit before, but I started my banking career in 2007,
Wow. So you were the outlier, or you just snuck right in.
or I snuck right in.
That's pretty great.
The dude who bought, and it was a company that bought our local mall. So the Mount Shasta Mall.
Yep.
So it's Rouse Properties, and it is a REIT. It's a publicly traded private equity fund, basically.
What's a REIT for context?
It's a real estate investment trust. Did I nail it?
You
Okay.
got it. Nailed
Hey,
it.
see, I got some special sauce.
Thought I'd catch you.
I and 5 children. What?
What's a trust?
I see. I'm out of my depth. So, no. So this is basically similar to a private equity fund. People pool their money. The money gets invested in a similar asset type, usually. So in this case, they take pooled money and they invest exclusively in malls. Even more niche than that, they go to mid-sized cities that are growing. So Reading's one of these. Like our suburbia will keep expanding over time. Good place to own real estate. They buy B- malls. They buy like the belly of B, and then they flip it. They basically fix and flip malls for cash flow. So they don't sell them, but they hold them. So that they, let's see, what got added in the last 10 years on our mall since they bought it.
I don't go to the mall anymore, but they definitely changed the structure of it.
Sephora, Chick-fil-A.
There's
right?
a Chick-fil-A. Oh, you mean outside? Yeah.
Yeah.
Home Goods.
Home Goods. Yep.
Sprouts.
Shout out to Theory. There's a number of good plays, and on the inside, they materially changed it. They shrunk the food court, which was smart. They made it way more efficient. They're efficiency experts. They kicked out J.C. Penney's, right? They know how to flip a mall for cash flow. Well, if you're an investor, that's on the stock market. You can invest in Rouse Properties, and that's their strategy. And they will cut you a 4% a year dividend check, and their equity will go up over time. So you're getting a dividend check annually for 4%, similar to inflation, and your equity is going up. So, anyways, I met the COO, Brian, and so it's Fifth Avenue, New York. I'm there with family, and a friend of a friend intros us, and I was doing some real estate stuff, and I almost like a meet an advisor. Like, hey, you guys would like each other, but he's really smart. He can teach you some things. And he was like happy to give back, which you find a lot of people at the top. Like if you don't ask, you won't get advice. But if you do, a lot of people want to give back. So he walks me into his office and shows me our mall on a board. And he literally like, yeah, this is Mount Shasta Mall. We just bought it for $46 million, and they were going to cash flow every year. And here are the other, I think they owned like something like 30 million feet of mall space in America. And I could see them all like high school boards. I mean, this looks like high schoolers putting projects together, and it's huge money. And literally, I think I lost why we started talking about Brian. Why did we start talking about private equity? No, what were we talking about?
Feats.
Feats.
REITs.
REITs. Why'd we go to REITs?
I don't know.
This is really.
I was literally waiting for
I know.
the punchline here.
And then I lost how to land that plane.
Well, so here's the thing that's interesting about it, though. It's plug and play at any level. Because do you know how commercial real estate is valued?
Per square foot tenancy.
No.
I mean, it's just like the cash that it brings in.
Net operating income.
Right.
So
NOI.
So the play that they're making in malls is the same play that people make in multifamily, in apartment buildings, in office space.
But it doesn't work in single family residences.
It's because the way that single family residences are appraised is completely different. But what's
broken, you mean?
I don't know about that, but it's completely different for sure. But what's interesting about the model is that you can do this with 4 units, or you can do it with a $50 million
with an
model.
SFR loan.
This is true.
Yeah.
And you can house hack and own I mean, there's a lot of things you can do.
There's too much content on that, though.
That is
I don't
way too much.
recommend we do that.
No, for sure. But my point is that what's fascinating is the same thing. The reason why you said it's like high school all around there is because the steps are the same.
The steps
they
are the same.
They just have a bigger network to raise capital
That's
from.
right. That's right. So
And they force the equity. They force the growth by literally raising rents. That's all they have to do.
Well, and they brought in outside, so they had a value add strategy, right? So they brought in some of the corporate contracts with Sephora and Chick-fil-A.
Well, the only reason why they did that is because those guys pay more.
Correct, but they had them ready to go, which is fascinating. So they know that they can raise money with the public markets, and then they just
Okay,
flip
hold
it.
on. We're getting a little ahead of ourselves. Let's say I want to quit my day job. How does this help me?
Shit. Well, you have to know. I liked his point. You have to know that the game is the same at all levels, and so I think a lot of imposter syndrome exists at the bottom.
For sure.
And it starts to disappear, which creates at the top, and then that creates more of a gap emotionally.
Do you think it disappears?
Well, okay, so no, I don't. But I think perception is what we're going after here. So I think if you have a power differential, if you have power and margin and room in your life to do what you want, then people assume you have it together and they don't. Imposter syndrome. And I wanna dismay that. Like, literally, the game is played at all levels very similar. There are patterns in how humans behave and function, and how our math system works. Our banking is pretty consistent.
I don't know. There's an element of that. Have you ever heard of the Dunning-Kruger effect? Dunning-Kruger effect, so fascinating. So when people enter a new market of things that they don't understand, at the very beginning, they know absolutely nothing, and they'll freely admit it. Just a little bit into it. Let's say you've been studying real estate for 2 weeks. You're like, I know everything. I am a freaking genius.
And that's
This
TikTok
happens.
is full
This
of
happens.
that.
Oh, absolutely. And then the Dunning-Kruger effect hits, and you hit that big slump in the middle. After you go like a few months in, a year in, 2 years in, you're like, I don't know shit.
don't know anything.
Shit. And then at the very end, we're talking like people with PhD levels of knowledge. Eventually, it goes back up. Like, yeah, no, I kind of do know what I'm
quite a
talking about.
bit.
Like
Yeah.
you probably are in that angle with banking. At the
Yes.
beginning, you probably felt like, yeah, I'm pretty good at this, and then you're like, I don't know this.
I'm just
and then
playing
you
the game.
probably got yourself.
Well, and I don't know about this study. It is fascinating, but I bet if you like zoom out, I bet that those peaks and valleys exist more than once.
Oh, valid, yeah.
Because I think that as you skip, that's what I mean when I go, does imposter syndrome really go away?
No.
Because I don't think so. I think that when you have to take the leap off your mountaintop, you're going to feel like an imposter.
Podcasting, right? We all started podcasting this year.
No, I do think it does go away at some point. At some point, you can say, you know what? I actually feel pretty comfortable with this.
With you in
But
production.
I think that that's when you decide I'm going to stay on this mountaintop.
Yeah, that's if you stay in a specific industry. So,
Or at a certain level in that industry.
Yeah. It's you can learn enough in one level where you're like, I feel pretty good at this. But the second you parlay that information to a completely different industry, you're in a spot where you're like, shit, I kind of have to fake it a little bit.
Guys, this is a good episode.
Oh, thank
This
God.
is a banger so far.
I have a couple questions for Michael, and
But
Michael, you have.
But can I say this real quick
may
though?
do so.
May I do this? So the point you're bringing up is fascinating though. How do I quit my 9 to 5?
Oh, yeah.
In this whole context,
Yeah.
the number one question I get in terms of money and finance is if I had X amount of dollars today, where would I invest it? And it's normally 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, right?
Yeah.
Normally, like actually I got it today on Instagram.
And do you tell people don't invest it, go learn a skill?
Literally what I would do if I had $1,000, $5,000, $10,000 today is I would invest it in a mastermind, an e-course, a conference. I would invest first in myself.
Okay, so you acquire new. Okay, keep going.
Because as soon as I say it's 5,000, let's just use 5,000. I blow 5,000 on e-courses and masterminds.
Yep.
But I guarantee you at the end of those e-courses and masterminds, I will know exactly what to do with my next 5,000.
Right.
That is the point.
Are you talking about you spend the $5,000 in acquiring a new skill or learning about how to use money?
No, well, either.
Pick
really.
a mastermind, whatever
so
you want.
so you invested in yourself in the investment vehicle you're most interested in. So for me, I'm a real estate guy. So I'm going to go to real estate courses. I'm going to go to my real estate masterminds. I'm going to sign up for all the real estate, whatever. And at the end of it, I'm going to know how to evaluate commercial real estate property, and I'm going to know, do I want single family residences?
This is good. This is
Do I
good.
want
Let's be
multifamily?
clear, though. You're not talking about, let's take an e-course on painting. This is not that. No, we're talking about things that will
No.
actually make you money.
Well,
No,
how to make money on painting?
specific-
Maybe.
Yeah, valid. Yeah.
Specifically, though, in the investment vehicle, the gap of getting out of your 9 to 5 isn't a number; it's freedom. And so I have to find the vehicle that provides me that freedom or the best opportunity to achieve it.
Right. I mean, I could not work another day in my life if I moved to the Philippines,
Sure.
and my kids can come too. Like I could make a few calls and have some cash flow, and
As a guy who did that for a year, it is pretty damn
I'm not going to do it. I'm not going. I don't want to do it. I want to stay here, and it's very expensive here. So I got to keep building because that was the choice. So relative to other people, they have more options. They think they just have to make the spread work. Got to make enough money regularly with them.
Okay, I've had a theory. I've talked about this a little bit. I think of it in tiers of autonomy, right? The normal one is you have your normal 9 to 5, and usually put yourself in a bad spot. I work at Taco Bell. You don't want to do that. And then I usually tell people, okay, go get a good skill that they can pay you pretty well. So what I did for a while was DJing. Got paid pretty well. So I could do that on the weekends, and then boom, I have 9 to 5 Monday through Friday to do whatever the hell I want. And then that's when you learn how to do, the things that are going to make you the real money.
Yeah.
What would you say?
Well, I mean, for me, I would say, in terms of like, the problem is that the mindset is so outdated. The mindset, the common sense money today is go to school, get a job, work hard, save money, pay off debt, invest in your 401k, retire, and hopefully enjoy your life then.
Dude, I hate whenever anybody talks about their 401k, I'm just like, go die. This is the dumbest thing.
I literally cashed in my 401k this year.
Really? You don't do it?
No, he had to buy out his business partner.
Not only did I actually invested it all in real estate.
I can picture in my head where that money went. You didn't list Roth IRAs. I'm very disappointed in you.
Well, here you get the point. Invest in the stock market and retire and hopefully enjoy our lives. But the problem is that that's what our parents did, and we're all looking at our parents and going, "It didn't work for them, and why the hell do I think it's going to work for me?"
Right.
So to me, it's an outdated mindset. I believe this is why on my newfound TikTok.
Yeah.
Okay,
hobby-
wait.
Hold on.
At
Go.
Dead Presidents
So on TikTok, it's at Dead Presidents Club.
Club.
Nice,
At
nice.
Dead Presidents Club. Please follow Michael.
It'd be fun.
Yep.
It'd be fun. I have no idea what I'm
We're
doing.
gonna get you better microphones.
I hope so. And
You can keep the ring light.
honestly, I might just come in here and film them.
Yep, please do.
Yeah. But one of the things that I've gotten a little bit of traction on is this kind of Dave Ramsey culture, right? Because Dave Ramsey, let's be honest, Dave Ramsey was for our grandparents and our parents. But the issue is that the issue with Dave Ramsey is not that it doesn't work. It's that it works too well at keeping people.
There's so many issues with Dave Ramsey. It's profiteering, I think is what it is. At its worst.
He's profiting massively off of keeping people broke. But what his system
That's it. That's exactly it.
If you're seeing this TikTok clip, please comment.
Dave Ramsey keeps you broke.
At Dave Ramsey. Please tag
My
him.
new favorite thing to do is to
him.
tag Dave Ramsey in quotes that he didn't say. Like, when times are hard. When times are hard, put it on the card. Dave
He
Ramsey.
didn't say that.
No.
So
When
there's
the money
this,
runs out, max it out.
there's
Dave
this
Ramsey.
concept. There's this concept from my favorite podcast. That's not this one. Well, I don't like ours as much as another one. One of my favorite concepts they talked about. One of the things that I learned from there was like, oh yeah, you can always punch Goliath when you're David, but you can never punch David when you're
you can punch
Goliath
up.
in the public eye. So you can punch David.
That's a
you
good
can
point.
You will never get in trouble for that.
No.
But if he goes publicly and goes, screw you, Michael, and Dead Presidents Club, like he will get so dethroned so fast.
So
and
I'm
then
just
you'll
over.
win.
I'm just over here punching Dave Ramsey in the nuts all day. No, I mean the problem is that his model works too well at keeping people addicted to a paycheck.
in their W-2 jobs.
That is the deal. And if you're happy, I had a comment yesterday that was like, it was on one of my anti-Dave Ramsey posts, and they're like, we paid off our debt. We're more generous than ever, and life is, and our 401ks are full, and life is good.
Are you happy?
And I'm like, awesome. I'm glad that worked for you.
Yeah.
But somebody in your position could be way more generous, way more free, and way more wealthy just by deploying a few tactics.
Let's talk about some misconceptions here. One of the biggest things that Dave Ramsey says is pay off your debt, pay off your debt, pay off your debt.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I have college debt that is sitting there at 2.5% interest. And I'm like, I am not touching that debt as long as I can because I can get... Okay, is this right? Is this wrong? What would you do?
To not pay off your debt?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the college debt debate is a
It's
whole big
allocation of money.
conversation.
Let's just say that.
But the point that you're making is if I got $10,000 in student loan debts at 2.5%,
Yep.
I can invest, $10,000 in something else at 5%, then I'm net positive, right? That's the point you're
Net
making.
Essentially
positive,
that, yeah.
$250 a year.
Right. That's probably,
Two
that's,
dinners, baby.
It's one dinner.
I
One
mean,
dinner in Vegas.
That's probably, 6 to 1, half dozen of the other. I don't care if you pay off your student debt. What I'm more interested in talking about is like this idea of paying off your home.
Oh, okay.
So this is a really interesting time right now because Dave Ramsey's been touting the fact that you put your home mortgage on a 15-year mortgage, you pay it off as quickly as possible. I think his big quote is a paid off house is the new BMW status symbol or something like that. The problem is
Sounds
that
nice.
up until 6 months ago, interest rates were 2.5% on a $500,000 million home. I can get 12, 15, 20, 25% ROI on that same money. Why would I ever pay it off?
Wait. Acronym. What's ROI?
Oh,
Return on investment.
Thank you.
that was really nice.
So I think that the point is it's like it's the issue of Dave doesn't believe that there's any such thing as good debt. Like if you've got like mounds and mounds of credit card debt on handbags, like you're an idiot.
Yep.
But if you've got mounds, I've got literally millions of dollars in debt to my name.
Right.
I am a debt millionaire.
Right.
But I have.
I believe they
hilarious.
call those liabilities.
Yes, exactly. But that's actually the point. I use debt to buy assets. Poor people use debt to buy liabilities.
We all should be using debt to avoid taxes.
So this gets real deep.
Yep.
That's like investing like 301 when you want to start talking about taxes.
Okay. All right. We'll go up the elevator.
That's
So
so funny.
at a core level, I'm so with you. This
Yeah.
is my favorite conversation. I've been obsessed with this for a long time. I actually studied Roth IRAs when I was 17 under a banker and then had to present it to the class to graduate. And I learned this is terrible. So yeah, I could have $2 million at 62, or I could go take every ounce that I earn and double down on myself. And if I'm still alive at 62, I will have so much more money than $2 million and autonomy in my life.
Do you want some math that
Give me math.
that is motivating? Yeah, you might have 2 million. Let's just use easy math. $1 million, right? Big Dave Ramsey.
$1 million.
$1 million. A big Dave Ramsey thing is if you put $100 a month for between the ages of 30 and 70 or 20 and 60, whatever it is, $100 a month in a well-producing stock mutual fund at 12%, you're going to have 1.1 and some change $1 million.
12% is generous, I would say.
Yeah,
It can be done.
over that period of time.
Over that period of time, it's you're going to have 25% years, you're going to have 5% or negative years,
Sure.
So
Anyways.
at 12%, the issue is that today $1 million is only worth
Inflation, Dave.
27% of what it was 40 years ago.
So now let's deflate your
27%?
new 7 figures.
40 years ago.
40 years ago.
27%. So $1 million, that's so sad.
Yes.
So in theory, if we use history to tell us about our future, my $1 million I'm going to have is going to be worth 270,000.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
Thank you. So my grandparents, who are still alive, I talked to last week. I said, Grandpa, how long have you been in this house? He said, your dad was raised here. When did you buy it? I think it was 70, right? So it's been 50 years. How much you buy it for? $37,000. That house is worth, no, that house costs. Let's forget about the worth. If I wanted to buy that house now, it would cost me $320,000. It's almost 10x in 50 years. Like if I just snowball my $100, Dave, then I will drain the bank account just to buy a house.
Which is a really good point for your listeners too, because everybody thinks the magic number is $1 million.
It's
No,
not.
it's not. No, it's not.
Do the math. If you've got $1 million, you get to live off, 20 years? You get to live off $4,000 a month.
No, it needs to be, you need enough invested in appreciating assets. So let's,
But that's not the model. That's not the model we've been taught. The model we've been taught
Right.
is keep cash, save money, work hard, keep cash
invest your cash.
in the stock market. which ultimately is not going to be the long-term beat of inflation.
Right.
And then you get to 301, which is taxes.
This is pretty good. We generally go in terms of like, oh yeah, you let's say you have $5,000 in the bank. Don't save your $5,000. Go start a business. Go figure out how to make money from your money. But what would you?
So I would just say the caution that I give to business owners is to not misconstrue assets and liabilities.
Yep.
Okay.
It is not an investment if it is a liability. Businesses, startups are liabilities.
Oh yeah.
Period. And let's define it. What's the difference between an asset and a liability? An asset is anything that puts money in my bank account every single month or every single year, whatever the cash conversion cycle is. A liability
Costs me something.
costs me money every single month, every single year. My business, my startup, unless some sort of like unicorn, is not an asset. Period.
I'm going to fight you on this.
Yeah, I was going to fight you.
Oh,
on
I
this
know
as
you
well.
guys are because you're small business people.
No. Oh wow, this is so sad.
I was
We
director of
have
acquisitions for a $70 million private equity fund. My job was to buy $10 million of real estate assets that were performing at discounted cash flows.
Yeah, because you had cash. So what you were banking on is a 10% return at a 10% likelihood of 100x return.
So
Startups don't get to do that.
My point in saying that is I have context. So I understand the game that you prefer, and I arguably prefer it too. However, it is easier for the average worker to create value with their time, their effort, their labor, and combine that with the money like fuel, turn it into a cash flowing asset. Now, I would call some businesses liabilities and some assets. So for example, we're buying one right now. Or we're going to buy into one that a buddy's buying first. We're going to buy 20% of this. I hope, knock on wood, that it's only doing $500,000 a year in revenue, but it is, its EBITDA is $100,000 a year right now. And, it doesn't need any maintenance. It doesn't need anything. It's a small business. It's actually a services business, which is got a lot of liability in services. But it predictably cash flows every month, and there's already an owner draw. And if you can fix and flip that business, so if you can add value to that, which if we join in won't be hard because it's like, oh, the content's old. Oh, the marketing sucks. Oh. A little bit of labor will probably triple the EBITDA.
Yeah, but you just said what I said.
I thought you said small businesses are not are liabilities, not assets.
If it costs me money. See, you're talking about
you just put it under the umbrella of
Okay,
small business.
let's peel it back. Let's peel it back a little bit. So let's say I am.
Peel us.
Yeah, I'd love to peel you. That was not the right word, but
Can we edit that part out? I'm not comfortable with this much euphemism. just a little euphemism.
this is great. Euphemistically speaking, if I want to swell and engorge my tumescently growing company,
I guess it's Dustin's podcast.
it's really bad. Okay, so hold on.
My
I have
daughters are going to listen
$5,000
to this someday.
Well,
God.
that's great. that's
Wow.
That's her problem. We said it. So I have $5,000 in the bank. Let's say. I would say now, challenge me on this. I would say yes. If you want to go find a way to make money, go find a lean startup, and you can do that. A variety of ways. And we can talk about that. Sure. But I would say find a low risk type of startup to start and then just let it go. So here's an example. I have a friend who wants to make some extra money on the side. And I was like, oh, okay, let's do it with rings because rings are a very, very low overhead. And you can sell it on Etsy. You want to make an extra $2,000 a month? Absolutely. Let's do it. You buy the ring for $10, sell it for $100. Sounds like a great thing. That's a very low risk. And she could even get the orders across the finish line before she even buys the product.
Yeah, but how much time is she going to put into that?
Initially, once you set up the supply chain, it's not much time at all because you order. Just it's like an L,
Okay.
But what would you do? I have $5,000. I'm a $5,000 listener. What do I do?
I mean, I go back to the education piece because to me, like all of these conversations become a question of like, am I just creating a job for myself? I mean, look,
That's a good point.
The reality for me is that the money is not the problem. It's the love of the game, right? Like that's what entrepreneurs do.
Yeah,
like they
I love
the game.
Yeah.
And like, that's what I want to inspire.
Yeah.
I just want people to fall, in our Christian circles, right? It's like the love of money is the root of all evil. No, I don't love whatever. I love the game though. I love it at the blackjack table. I love it in the venture capital
Dude,
room.
I'm all
I love
good
it in
with
the
being evil.
Hey, I
let's do
bought
some
this
devil worship.
watch on that trip.
Did you?
Yeah. It's the first time I had an emotional response to
I
a
saw
watch.
Ouija boards
I started
now.
weeping when I saw it because I could see how the gears tick. It's a thing. Anyways.
I don't know what to do with that, but
Yep.
That was an expensive trip. So that's a story for another day.
Most of that was actually Dustin's bachelor party, just to be clear, and we can't
Yeah.
share most of those stories.
I mean, they're not like so horrific. Like you said, you can't share them.
No,
It sounds like
there was nothing. There was
like,
nothing bad. It was just financially, it would be too vulnerable to share that.
That may be true.
Thank you for the Lefroy 25. By the way, not
Yeah,
sure.
thanks. Yeah,
While you were playing blackjack, that's what
And I did
that true?
not know we
Yes.
could go skydiving that
They
nicely.
brought me. They brought me Lefroy 25 because I was sitting next to you.
Back in the salon?
Yeah.
No way. I didn't
Yeah.
know they had that level.
Yeah.
Don't say salon, you asshole. That is not what happened. That is not. No.
No, salon,
that-
like the gambling salon.
gambling-
No,
Yeah.
The place where there's more tables.
Why do
We're
you- why do
digressing
you- well,
really bad.
Let me pull us up with a question.
Okay, pull me up.
Why do you play blackjack? I don't like it.
So I'm going to stop playing blackjack because
Okay.
I learned something about myself. But the reason why I play blackjack is because I am built for risk. So to what I've realized in even honestly since that trip, what I've realized is that blackjack to me is just a immediate game of entrepreneurialism
Yep.
or deal sourcing.
Yep.
Is that even a word?
It's hilarious.
Sure.
I love it. It's bad gambling. Yeah, that's basically entrepreneurship. Sounds great.
I mean, honestly, it is. And to be honest, like in some cases, my odds are better because as an entrepreneur, I'll bet on something that has a 10% likelihood of success because it has 100
No,
extra
I
return.
disagree. I think it's more like poker. I'm paying to see the flop a bunch
mean,
of
they're
times, and then once I see the flop and I like it, I'm going to put more money in it and more investment
Yeah,
into it.
maybe, but the difference with that is that you're still in control.
Okay.
So I think most entrepreneurs are just betting on because we're all gut people
On themselves, control. They're
Yeah.
betting on themselves.
Yeah.
I do this all the time.
Yeah, and so I do it
Yeah.
at the blackjack table, and what I realize is it's no different. The blackjack table for me is no different than a real estate deal.
Yep.
But the reason why I want to put more energy in a real estate deal than a blackjack deal is because I actually do get control.
Yeah.
Right. So
Agreed.
I reduce the risk by growing my acumen.
Right. So basically, like this is how I think about it. If I were going to buy my kids a cash flowing asset, I would say if I'm still alive, certain assets are a much better bet because I'm able to control them, right? Because I have experience in that asset type. If I'm dead, I need to buy my kids an asset that they are good at shepherding. So, or you buy a cash flowing asset that's really boring and someone else manages, which real estate offers a lot of cool options for that. And that's what you can do for a true safety with good gains. And you would measure your returns all based on your original purchase price. But I like the worked model. Like it gives us a game that can compound. So my next goal for my company is that we have $100 million annually under our influence, not control. This is like my KPI that I've set for my team and myself. And that's a revenue number, not a profit number. And I don't even need to own 100% of all the ventures. 20% of some, 50% of some, 100% of some. And the reason why I set that is because it's a commentary on, well, what do we want to be really good at? We want to influence the money, right? And we want to do that authentically, transparently. We're not trying to manipulate. Like, honestly, like if we can influence that money and where it goes, I can feel good about my life. I can feel good about the dent we're making in the world. And 100 million is actually just the next train stop. I think we can get far beyond that. But I don't care about being a billionaire, a millionaire, a billionaire, whatever the words are, because that has to do with like self and control. What I'd rather do is there's a we here and influence. And yeah, there's some hierarchy, there are levels, different people have different areas of autonomy. But within that little business village we have, there's a thing we can do if we are good at placing cash in assets where we can like make a good buy now. Okay, this is cash flowing now. This is good math. But then we can bring our influence to the table and hug it and make it better.
Well, and when you're a company that has influence over assets, you get to buy liabilities for the potential of them becoming assets.
Correct.
All I'm saying in the asset versus liability column is going, most of the people that are listening to this right now don't have an asset to their name, or maybe don't even know what one is.
No.
And so you don't get to start where you're talking about.
But I
right?
started years ago.
Of course.
And if you're hearing this now, I think the reason why I care about that for the average listener, college student, you should set your goal as something that you can influence and control, which is all the way back to you should put that $5,000 or $1,000 into personal education, right? Of something you're passionate about. So if I look at influences are gasoline and cash is a small fire, or you can swap them. But like the two ingredients here that will make a dynamic combo and make a forest fire, if you know influence is one of those, then you need to be influential. Like you need to be able to make a dent in the asset you buy. So if I buy a rental and then I hire a project manager or a management company for the rental, I have so little influence over the rent next month. And in order to increase it, I kind of got to be a dick. So like, I hate that. I actually hate buying that personally, even though I agree with the math. I would much rather buy a small business under our influence, and small entrepreneurs can do this too.
Oh, for sure. And I think the passion thing is so critical because the reality is that the financial freedom is not a number.
Yes.
Financial freedom is the ability to make a choice.
Yes.
For me, wealth is I do what I want, when I want, how I want. Period.
That's right.
And then that number that affords me that is different than your number, is different than your number. And so the passion piece is critical.
Yes.
All I'm saying is that if I've got coming back to the $5,000, I'm just going like, I'm not going to blow it on an idea, because at that level, all an idea creates for me is hustle. And that's actually what I'm trying to get out of.
Right.
What I'm trying to invest in is the knowledge that affords me the ability to potentially get out of the hustle.
Okay, the knowledge. Can you go through the next step? Let's say I have that knowledge. I did $5,000. I learned as much as I could.
About what?
Can we give me an example? What would you do?
Well, I'm a real estate guy. So
I spent $5,000. I'm pretty damn good at real estate now.
Yeah. So I would deploy. So that's my point, is I would deploy. So I'm assuming you're in this, I'm working, I'm trying to get out of my job.
Yeah. That's the avatar.
Yeah. So then I deploy my earned income to acquire assets in my new area of expertise.
Now it's tricky though, because now I'm without $5,000 and I'm cash flowing enough to survive.
How did you get the 5,000 to begin with?
Oh,
You
I
must have
hustled,
had
bro.
some
I
margin.
hustled.
You
I
got to
hustled.
keep hustling.
Let's say it was a gift. Doesn't matter. Like, you're in that position. Can you finance yourself into something like that? Can
Oh,
you?
for sure. I mean, there's like just taking real estate. I mean, there's a million ways you can make money in real estate without spending any of your own money. You can.
That's what we want to hear.
That's what you want to talk
That's what we
about.
want to hear.
Okay,
I
we
want
can
to
talk about
give me
that.
one. Give me one.
Okay, wholesaling. So wholesaling is when I source deals at a discount on the market, and I assign those contracts to a buyer, somebody who's willing to actually buy the contract. So say the house is worth $300,000, but I get it into contract for $200,000 because it needs work.
It needs work.
It needs work. And then I take that contract, and instead of actually buying the house, I sell it to Kendall
Because I'm a flipper.
because he's a house flipper. I sell it to Kendall for $220,000.
Okay, great. So practically speaking, how do I even get into that? I want to do wholesaling. Where do I go?
Wholesaling.
No, you spent $5,000 to go to a mastermind to learn how to do it.
This is perfect.
This is exactly my point is you know how to wholesale now because you spent the money to do it.
Great.
So now you don't have a question about how I wholesale. You've got a question of how hard am I willing to do it? How hard am I willing to lean into it? And yeah, there's always going to be hustle.
So you would say do that. Like, that's an example right there. You lather, rinse, repeat that, and then until you're making $100K a year, then you have $100K to do wholesaling with, and then you do it again. Then you go again and again and again and again, and it snowballs.
Yeah, and wholesaling in particular provides zero risk. The only risk is your time.
Yeah, so that's a good one, and you can Google it, and you can Google wholesale mastermind.
Perfect.
And you can pay to be in that. So another one would be the flippers, right? So there are handy men, and I'm sure women.
Yeah.
But if you grew up on a farm and you know how to fix shit and you know how to build some stuff, stop selling that to somebody else for $20 an hour and go buy from the wholesaler a good deal, because you don't know how to find the deal. They found the deal.
Well, but the problem with that is how are you paying for it? That's his question.
So I ask your uncle for a down payment.
Okay, there you go.
And so ask your uncle for a down payment and say, I'm going to go put in all the work and I'll pay you back next year. Right? I'm going to buy this thing and I'm going to flip it. And here's the steps. And
so in the real estate environment, we call that OPM.
Other people's money.
Yeah.
And that's a great way. I mean, literally, you can finance entire deals with other people's money.
Yep. And those are the people who
That's
don't want to
scary.
hustle.
If I'm another person, right? If I'm
It is
the
scary.
uncle.
It's all scary.
Yes, I know. But if I'm the uncle, I don't want to give it to my nephew, who I'm not really sure if he's good at this or bad at this.
But your nephew's been doing your nephew spent the money to go to the mastermind to do
this
the
is good.
work.
This is
to
good.
do the,
Very
like,
good. I like
you're
you.
developing credibility through your education.
Okay.
great.
Develop credibility. So this is a big point. So a lot of imposter syndrome, fear of the future, letting other people down, those problems, actually, even if you learned nothing in that mastermind, but you went through it and you say that mastermind sucked, you actually now are qualified to say which lessons sucked. There's some college courses we'd be like, that was a waste of my life. I hate that I paid
Great.
for it.
You don't know MLMs suck until you've sat through a pitch.
Yep.
And then you're
right.
like, holy
so
shit.
actually just the act of failing to learn and then being able to label it develops credibility.
Well, and remember that a lot of the value that comes from those environments is not even the content, it's the network. So to give you context, I spent $25,000 this year on a mastermind.
Yep.
Not because I need more knowledge per se on how to invest in real estate, although I'm learning more every day.
Great.
That's not necessarily what I needed. What I needed was access to a community of people that
That's
are doing
right.
it on my level.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So that's the big trade-off.
I have a business community you're going to want to be on Facebook.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like 900
Is
people.
it called IdeaDrop?
No,
you should be on that one.
Sorry,
You should
I'm
be
not trying to plug that.
That's so funny.
So
To that point, though, it is really interesting.
actually, you should be in there. If you want to help people, get in there and mentor people.
I'd love it. I love mentoring.
Michael, if you have real estate or finance questions and you're in the community,
Let's go.
we're going to put Michael in there and you can tag him. That wasn't planned.
No, he's a glut of information. But to that point, the number one indicator of success in life throughout history is the group of people that you hang out with. If you hang out with rich people, you will be rich. If you hang out with dumb people, you're going to be dumb. So if you can't find the community of people to hang out with, figure it out.
So one of the best pieces of advice I ever got was pay for your friends.
Wow.
Thanks for Vegas, man.
Yikes.
I mean, at some level, there's
Yikes.
an element of that, right? Like
There is.
we pay for the people that we can't access a separate from that. And that sucks to say out loud if you're like a hyper relational person.
Sure.
Yeah.
But the reality in business is most people are not. But I can tell you that there are a
Right.
lot of powerful people who will trade their time and their mentorship for a sum of money.
Yeah. Or at least the safety of like you were bought in and you're not wasting my time.
It's also perceived prestigious.
Prestige.
Yeah, that's the one.
See, college doesn't work, people.
I
Damn
know,
it.
Screw college.
No. It totally works, though, because if you are perceived as a higher person, then people want to be around you. It just actually
Says
works.
the
It's
guy
like,
going to Oxford next year.
well, that's a nice time.
I don't even know what that means, but okay.
He is.
Really?
I don't know.
We'll get into that. We'll get into that
You're
another
not better
time.
than me, Dustin.
No.
He's
I'm
trying
just
to
better
be.
looking and nicer, and I have
Wow. Yeah,
better
you've made that
business ideas that are
abundantly
going
clear.
Okay, I want to do one of
Abundantly clear.
one of two things. We can play good business, bad business, or you can tell us a business idea that you have. Or is there anything you're passionate about that you haven't talked about?
What if we disagree? I like good business, bad business, because I want to see what we disagree on.
Oh, this is great.
Sure.
You want to do that? Okay, I'm going to rattle off a bunch of business ideas that we've talked about it, and you tell us if like this is a terrible idea.
Do I have to tell you why, or do I just say yes or no?
How many how? Yeah, I just want a how option. So if you say what the business is, I want to go, how does it work?
Well, no. So like, here's an example. I'd say glow in the dark camping gear. Business, good business, bad business.
Hard business, but good.
Okay, good.
I like that. Agreed.
Refrigerated compartments in cars.
I don't think it's a business.
Yeah, valid. Okay.
That's not a business. That's but it is a cool feature
a
of
feature.
a Ford.
Okay, an app that tracks your drug intake. So if you have too much caffeine, it tells you when you're going to spike, when you're going to crash, and you can use it to combine it with different drugs, and so you can measure your body's stuff, with what's going in the app.
What did
Bad
I?
business.
And I can't remember if this was a real article or if this was like a Netflix like drama series. Wasn't there a deal with a startup that they did that and they like implanted a pill and the pill read there?
I don't know.
Yeah, I've heard of this and I can't
It's
remember.
the Apple Watch. We're right there.
Hard to monetize, so I think it's a bad business and
it's a
it's
bad one?
expensive to start.
No, because you'd get tons and tons and tons of government money for it.
This is good. This
so
is good. This
if
is
you
good.
take that angle instead of the direct to consumer angle, I'm in.
Yeah, that's good. Okay. Obstacle bowling.
Wait, what?
You have to.
Obstacle bowling. Yeah. You're bowling, but there's obstacles.
So wait, it's like a putt-putt golf course, but with the bowling?
with bowling, but obstacle bowling.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I mean, it's,
Experiences are trending like that.
Yeah. They are.
There's
trending.
a guy coming to our conference next year to speak that sold, I think it was $20 or $30 million. He sold his escape room business on a trailer.
Whoa,
Smart.
that's so smart because that's why they get.
So
that's
in
why.
COVID,
That's why I think
blew up.
escape rooms are terrible businesses. But
Yep.
that would
So you had
fix
it on a
that.
semi truck, and you start at the back and you finish at the front, so you could drive into your neighborhood with your friends. You're throwing a party.
This is great.
Escape room pulls up, right? And then he got it cash flowing, and he sold it, and now he runs an M&A group that
This
I'm in.
is
Yep,
So
What's
smart.
an M&A?
mergers and acquisitions.
Oh,
That
Sorry,
is
you're supposed to say
so smart.
acronym, please.
Oh,
M&A, mergers and
I
acquisitions.
actually didn't catch it off the.
You're a banker.
Okay. What business do you think I'm
Stupid one.
talking about when I say the words "lonely girl juice"?
Oh my God. If we
I don't know what to do.
if you
It's
make that
definitely a skinny cocktail company is what it is. But
if you make that a canned water company, just like Liquid Death,
Okay.
then we have Liquid Death in our office, and it looks like a terrible energy drink, hard metal water, right?
Yeah.
If that was the female brand of that same company, it would work. I hate that.
I genuinely, Dustin, think that you've missed your calling in marketing.
Oh, I thought it was stand-up, but that's good.
No, you're not that funny. But
He is funny looking though.
Thanks.
well, there's that Duke's dad joke.
I am a dad.
But you've got a lot of these little like literally
That's what I do, yeah.
lonely
So-
girl water would sell.
Lonely Girl World. So
It's great, yeah.
So I think
sauce.
so one of the things that we want to
still
do
out there.
probably second half of next year from IdeaDrop. So Dustin and I have a company together called IdeaDrop, and one of the derivative ventures we want to do is actually make a separate company that does the dumb startups. Like they're mostly a marketing small business, like Lightning. No, when I say dumb, I
No, it's
just
funny.
mean
It's funny. Keep going. I
Yeah,
like it. I don't mind
stop it. Gosh.
Dumb's easy in a lot of ways. Dumb's really easy.
Like basically the question we played last time was, is that a company or is that a marketing campaign?
Yeah.
Right. And he mostly comes up with marketing campaigns that in 2022 could be entire companies because it's easier to change your product than it is to do all the labor for good marketing.
So I love this. One of the things I'm obsessed with right now is the idea of boring businesses. This is not a boring business.
This is good.
This is not a boring business.
You've been
but
watching What's Her Name?
what's her name?
Yeah.
Corey?
Yeah.
What's her face?
Tori, Corey, yeah, Cody.
I know who you're
Cody
talking-
Sanchez.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I don't know who Cody Sanchez is.
She's all
Wow,
into like boring
okay.
businesses, like buying ice,
maybe
Ice machines.
ice machines,
Yeah.
vending machines.
Yeah.
Lonely girl
But
juice.
the point is these low overhead businesses.
Yeah.
Like they're great. They're great ideas. And I think that like
I almost made an offer on the laundromat in Anderson. You know,
did
the
you?
one- and
Yeah,
that's
I know
just-
exactly what you're talking about.
uh-huh.
Yeah. It's
great.
it's very
I mean, if you
interesting.
own or finance that,
Do you want a business where people can come and sell drugs? Well, buy a laundromat.
God, we were gonna increase the cameras and then
No, I
anyways.
would just deregulate it. I would just let it be that. I would
he
I would
wants to own a
deregulate it.
Vegas.
No,
He
no,
wants
no.
a mini
Like
Vegas
they're
all
gonna
to
deal drugs, so just put it there, deregulate it, put tons of vending machines, and
Is there
make
really
it.
that much drugs going down in Anderson?
Oh yeah,
Where do you think we get it?
I don't get it. That's the we don't hang out
we
enough.
don't
we
do
gotta hang out a
drugs.
lot more.
For the record, we don't do drugs. We just make jokes.
I love it. I love it when we push Kendall a little too far.
I get uncomfortable.
This happened a lot in Vegas as well.
I was like the team dad in Vegas.
Drunk
which
dad.
I was not. I was the team dad though. Still team
my dad that had a drinking problem and hit me a lot.
Lafroig 25 does not get you drunk fast.
Man, we have a really similar childhood.
Oh my gosh.
I made that up.
This is
That's
great.
not,
Yeah,
that's
me
not
too.
true.
Me too. Me too.
Anyways, my favorite memories in Vegas were watching piggyback rides.
Oh gosh, I'm still paying for that piggyback ride.
I
Alrighty,
wasn't
this
gonna
is-
name names.
Well, so the thing is the audience looking at me thinks that I'm the giver of the piggyback ride, and
would
they would be
think
sadly mistaken.
So okay, here's the backstory on that. I won't say how that happened in the moment, but I did say, hey, once I gave somebody a piggyback, and another guy took that as a challenge of like, I could do it. I could carry Michael.
There was literally a bet happening on who could carry me the furthest across the
And
casino floor.
I was never going to participate, but I did want to bait our other friend into this.
I don't even know how I ended up agreeing to it. I knew I was going to end
You
up
were just
getting hurt.
laughing. You're like, let's go. So
Was this before or after I tried to jump into the fountain?
So no. This gets into
Ooh,
a whole.
before, just right before. Mhm.
This gets back to how I could make a lot of money at any time. So this is my parachute.
Piggybacks.
I gave
Commercial piggybacking.
I gave a piggyback ride to somebody who was about 320 in a sales office, and I'm 160 pounds soaking wet in denim. And I was like, it's all in the hips.
Yeah.
Like it's all about bone structure. So if you're centered, I could get you around the sales floor.
At some point, it is just
he closed a $30K deal, and we had this culture of like, hey, if you close a deal over 25, you get a piggyback around the bullpen. So it was just a culture, but there was only one big dude in the office. So I had worked until he closed a big deal, and then everybody looks around like, who's giving him the piggyback ride? And I was like, guys, come on, you idiots! Like, I'll do it. And so I was also an idiot. I was actually the fool. I got a mega hernia from that.
I thought that would happen.
So,
that makes sense.
So that's when I got an inguinal hernia. Didn't know what that was. 3 years later, I had still not addressed this. 6 years later, I had still not addressed this.
Sorry, that your hernia
That's when the stomach lining bursts.
in the
But you don't feel it, and the intestines come out. You don't feel it.
I think I
because-
probably got 3 or 4 of those right now.
I got some. I got plural. So
great.
when I go to finally get hernia surgery for that, the doctor thinks it's a small hernia, but it's been 7 years wiggling in and out of that.
So please don't make that motion.
Sorry. So it was so bad that it would fall over my pelvic bone and down. And I had to regularly lay on my back and squeeze it back into my belly. And I was just used to doing that. It was just, my wife was really mad at me for not going to the hospital.
Did you ever search WebMD for men for this?
Yeah, you should look at them. Man.
This is part of the problems of WebMD. So I did. And
No,
it
I
said-
fixed the problem with my
you
business.
for men.
Yeah.
This is actually a video. If you Google hernia and Kendall's on his back shoving it back into his body.
So I
It's a full OnlyFans
when I
page.
search when I guys, I am uncomfortable.
Gotta pay extra for that one though.
So when I shoved that back into my belly, and it hurt one time. I Googled it, and it said you have an STD. That's what it said. And then I was like, no, I
Wait,
don't.
so Bob from the office gave you an STD?
So I was like, no, I don't. That's impossible because I've been monogamous my whole life. My wife took my virginity. This is
great.
And
I could have lived my whole life without knowing that.
Right? So, it has a name. It's Sam.
Your virginity?
Yeah. So we named him Sam. We got pregnant on our virginity loss.
That's great.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. I don't know if is this bonus content? What is
I
this?
don't know what that is.
So anyways, here's where the lawsuit comes in. Here's how Kendall gets money. I go under the knife to get this fixed eventually because a nurse who I was like, you got to believe me, it's not an STD. And he's like, that's a hernia. I'm like, oh, this is like fine. I'm fine. My name is Kendall. Everything's fine. Yeah, you need surgery. Okay. I get it scheduled. I go in. The dude's like, it's laparoscopic surgery. It's going to be 0.5 centimeter. I go under. I wake up. Surgeon's gone. Nurses are like, here's your keys. Here's your drugs. 3 days later, I fall over in a living room in shock. And everything...
Did you go septic? Like, what happened?
Everything beneath my hips is like getting black. And
Everything?
I freak out. I call the surgeon's office. Surgeon picks up that time.
The surgeon's office? I'd be calling 911.
So the protocol is like if it's post-op, you call the surgeon first because they have the most context. So I say, what's happening? And he's like, oh, it's fine. It was a pretty big surgery. So just don't sit up and down for longer than 15 minutes at a time. That's just blood draining from the wound and it needs time to heal. It's fine to be black. I'm like, well, why was I in shock? Why did I collapse? And he's like, well, you're not supposed to be mobile right now, which nobody told me. So turns out I had a 7-inch slice through my abdomen. It was like half a C-section. And I had 8 staples in me holding that together. And I didn't know it because it's all under a bandage. And I was on a Norco, right, for the pain. And nobody told me in discharge that while I was under, they changed the surgery on the spot because my hernia was so big. So nurse doesn't tell me, hospital doesn't tell me, discharge people don't tell me, surgeon is gone. This is the first time I'm finding out. Then they forgot me. He went to Hawaii. No one took out my staples. I took out my staples. I ordered on Amazon.
Why have you not sued them?
So what's the name of
Because I
this
just
surgeon?
am not into that.
For all the
I'm not
listeners
that
out there?
guy.
Listen, I'd be happy to do it on your behalf for a small percentage.
Many lawyers would do this on my behalf. I'm just not that guy. Like I want to make money the hard way.
I
is the
actually
easy
disagree
way.
with that.
I
I mean,
know.
make money the hard way all you want,
Isn't
but there
that
should be
an interesting
consequences.
story?
No, there should be consequences for something of that negligent.
I mean,
But then
that's life threatening though. We're not talking about we're not talking about like slipping in the turkey aisle and like suing the grocery store.
Right.
We're talking about like you actually threatened my life.
This is exactly what malpractice is.
I mean, I have life insurance.
Oh my
That
gosh.
doesn't help.
It helps my wife.
You want to be
Alrighty,
oh boy.
No, I'm kidding. Anyways,
alrighty.
all right, we should move on. This is really fun.
This was great.
It is
This
fun.
is really fun.
I will say this though. We are nearing the time to wrap it up. So before we wrap it up, however,
yeah.
do you have
I'm
any
not in a
business
rush.
ideas that you want to share?
You got to
or-
hit the button.
Okay. Okay. So I have one that I've had for a long time, and it is riddled with problems. So I'm excited.
Okay.
It's probably communist in its worst state.
Okay.
Communism in its worst state. So you know how celebrities, particularly like artists, right? They have full service teams that manage everything for them, including their finances. So Eminem is famous for talking about this time where he had just finished a world tour and wanted to buy a Rolex, but didn't know if he could afford it. So he calls his money guy and is like, hey man, can I buy this Rolex? And the guy's like, yeah, you can buy the Rolex and I'll take care of it for you and it'll be at your house, whatever. What if we could create a concierge like approach to that for people that have talent or skill?
Yeah, influencers.
No.
Okay.
Working class and middle class people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so this is where I pivot. So the issue is that these people have money because they have skill and talent.
Can I afford this? And we'll get it done for you.
Well, I will tell you what the idea is if you let me. I'm just kidding. So the idea is you actually, you talked about this in adulting service, right?
Oh, yeah,
The
yeah.
other day with the adulting service, I
Right.
saw it on the video. What if we created a service that was similar to a bank where we take all of your money, we automate the bills, we automate the saving, we automate your financial plan, and we
Yes.
allocate what you can actually afford to live on to some sort of an account that can't be overdrawn or overspent, and that's what you get.
Okay. I can solve the problems that you. We don't even have to approach I'll tell you the solution to those problems.
All right, let's go.
With crypto, if you use some DeFi, if you use some decentralized finance for this, you could give other people power in case of emergency, so that the centralized business of this can't take over. But you get the benefits of the service, but you can build in the parachutes through just accountability systems of DeFi.
Yeah, so I think that's true. I think that the bigger issues are things like, well, what happens when I, want to change my plan? Like there's some administrative issues that are huge. There's also some regulatory issues that are huge.
Oh yeah, those.
But if we stay away from the investment side and we
Yes.
just focus on the money service
I
business
need
side,
this. Right now I need this.
because I would argue 90% of especially the working and middle class, but even some of the high class, what do they have? They have skill,
Yeah.
but they don't have education.
Well, I'm your customer for this. So I'm not wealthy. I'm managing money, but I am upper middle class, and I have a lot of past skeletons in the closet from failed businesses.
Sure.
I avoided bankruptcy. I almost got foreclosed on. I've made it through. I have tons of debt. My credit score is not good, and I'm repairing it brick by brick. But the amount of energy that costs me, and the amount of revenue that keeps me from making.
And what a lot of people don't know is the right path. Right.
That's the big deal.
Right.
And so there's the deal is like, I call it like, we can eliminate buyer's remorse from this altogether because I've got the ability through my algorithm, through my team, through my system, whatever.
Predict you should or should not buy
You
this.
should or should not buy this. So you call in, and much like investment banks have these things called financial solutions advisors,
Yep.
where you call into them. They're not assigned to your portfolio. They're not your
They go
financial.
investigate it.
They literally just pull up your portfolio. They see all the information. We spend 30 minutes talking about whether or not you should buy a new car.
This is great. Well, I want to know though. I think this would work. How come it's not already being done? This should be
super complex.
It's super complex, and it is a little bit patronizing.
Yeah, but people are buying into it. They know what
People
they're
love
getting.
to submit
So
to.
here's where I think it could be monetized.
Okay, hit
Let's
me.
start there, and then
Yep.
we can work backwards. Obviously, there's a subscription.
Like a platform fee.
Yeah. And there's tiers, right? I'm
Sure.
going to have a tier for somebody like you that's different than somebody
Yeah,
who's...
I got a mess to clean up. I'm not just asking.
And
if I
we
can-
could do it on either a flat fee like subscription, or you could do it on like similar to like an investment portfolio on like a percentage of assets
Of
under
management.
management.
That could be tricky, but yes.
Yes, but regardless, you've got a structure for this.
Yeah.
But where the real money exists is in the side where we essentially take it to the bank, right? And we go, this is what payroll companies do. This is essentially what banks do. And we're going to invest all of those assets. So I've got, let's just say it's all working class people. On average, I've got 1,000 per client, and I've got 1 million of these people. I now have $1 billion in assets.
1,000 annually or monthly?
No, I'm saying if I've created a savings plan for you,
okay.
my average customer is going to have.
This is the money that you have in the bank. This is great. This is great. This makes total sense.
So on average, and we're not talking about working capital, the money you're actually coming in and out spending to manage your life. We're just talking about the plans we're creating to help people get financially stable.
Is that regulatorily possible in America?
That's what I'm wondering.
I don't know.
I've been to the Caymans a few times. We can have a conversation.
Well, I mean, it's definitely regulatorily possible in that banks are doing it. I mean, essentially, banks take your money and they.
But to start a bank,
I'm keenly aware.
You got to be C class, right? And so, or
hold on. We're jumping too far there. Go back to this. I want to.
So these are the litanies of problems, right? Yeah. Right. You know, how do you take, and there's a litany of liability problems. There's a whole bunch of problems, but the idea is, so say I on average have $1,000 per client. I've got 1 million people easily. If you do this right, I've got 1 million people, 1,000, I got $1 billion assets under management, right? That are literally just savings. I take those and I put it in a bond. And I get 1 or 2%. I am crushing.
Oh, no, you are destroying. Absolutely.
Which is exactly what payroll companies do. They take your tax dollars from the company and they invest it in, because they're holding your tax.
That's what every company, this is what Venmo does.
$1 billion, one of the math problems there is that if you get 1% of $1 billion, is that 10 million? Mm-hmm. If it takes you 1 million customers to get there, it actually might be difficult from a numbers perspective.
Well, right, but we're just talking about if we go that route. I mean, there's a bazillion things you could do. Yeah. And by the way, you can
make a deal with Rolex. Like, I want to make 20% every time that I help Bob buy a Rolex, right?
There's a marketing play in this too, because now I also control
AARP discounts.
Yes, and I control all of the spending data.
Yep.
So I want to start this company. I think it's a great idea. I have no idea how the hell to start the company. How do I do it?
I think, so a couple of things. There's a bunch of tech involved in this, right? So there's definitely investing in the tech piece of this. But just like nuts and bolts, I think it probably starts as some sort of consultative approach.
If you took the messy people first, so take the Tesla model. So he launched the S at $100K per car and said, I'm going to bring it down to $30K, which made everybody happy, even though it never happened. But the model of that, like premium first, helps you pay for the cost to build. So I might be more in a premium plan where I've kind of got a messy situation, but I need this service.
Well, and I think you'd probably have to, there's definitely some capital. This is going to be capital intensive because you're going to have to create a lot of highly educated specialists.
Yes.
In a team to be able to support the
needs. It's a vision big enough to fundraise for.
Educated specialists, but I think AI could do a lot of the work for you. And once you figure out just the natural trends.
How much do you think that AI is going to cost?
Yeah, the AI specialist.
I got you back. I got a subscription to GPT-3 man. You can borrow it.
And GPT-4 is coming out.
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, acronyms. Acronym police.
It's machine. Yeah, it's awesome, bro. Have you not? We got to talk AI at some point. This is so much fun.
I know. I don't know anything about it, so that will be fun.
I'm getting stressed thinking about that conversation. All right, let's go.
I love that conversation.
So that's what I would do is I would figure, yes, you're probably going to have to fundraise to do it right. I mean, you could if you were like, hey, I really want to start this business, you could and pop it if you wanted to. Like you could bootstrap this idea where I literally just put it out there and I get 100 clients and I figure it out and I hire a staff of 5.
You personally, like, let's say you could do 10 clients right now. If you really, really were like, I'm going to do this right now.
Oh, I could do more than 10.
How many could you do?
I would start with 10
with an
and
assistant.
Just be safe.
You have an assistant?
Yeah, me and an assistant?
Yeah.
I mean, I think I could onboard 10 a month and get to 100.
That's great. That's the move.
Okay.
I think I could
onboard. And then some higher end assistants as the workload increases.
Yeah, but the problem with this is that the math is much harder at that. We're talking side hustle at that point, not full-blown business.
Yeah. That I honestly think for this type of a thing, you would have to do it side hustle at the beginning.
Unless you fundraised.
You could fundraise, but if you side hustled and you said, hey, I did it for a year and I got the kinks out of our 100 customers and now we know how to do it, and then boom, give me $100 million to scale it.
Yeah, you could do that pre-fundraise,
Yeah, I think that's true. And the thing that I think is interesting about this is, I mean, it's crazy because you say this out loud and everybody goes, I hate money. Like, that's what everybody, they're like, I hate money.
They just hate what they don't understand, but yes.
Yeah, well, that's what they mean. I don't know what to do. I'm freaked out all the time. This removes all of the fear out of finance for people.
Is there a negotiation service with your employer? So like, hey, we actually did a survey, you're $10K a year underpaid, and I will help you get some of that money.
I mean, I think you could add anything into it.
Those types of things, though,
You know
when
where
you
the-
add to someone's income, they're happy to give you 20% of it. So this is something I learned
Oh, yeah.
early on in any type of business that's there are two types of businesses. They either help people make more money or they cost people money. Right? The ones that help people make more, you can take much healthier percentages of those because you're talking about fake money. You're talking about the future. But if you try to take something from their current income, people hold on to that.
Yeah. So the narrative, the reason why I say it's working in middle class. So here's where this came from. I've had this idea since I was like 18, 19 years old.
Socialism at its worst. I love this.
Literally. I was working in a financial institution.
Okay.
I was literally in a bank branch.
Yep.
I was a personal banker. And I would say that I spent at least 50% of my day reversing overdraft fees.
Are you
Oh,
serious?
that's sad.
And so this would occur to me. I've got some great stories about this, by the way, we can talk about sometime. But what occurred to me is like, and I mean, not to sound pretentious, but like I've never paid an overdraft fee, I don't think ever in my life. And it's not because I'm like independently.
I need your help.
Well, this is my point though, is it's not because I'm like, I've always been like super wealthy or I'm like, so
No, you've
I'm
just been careful.
And I'm just organized.
You're organized.
And
Yeah.
so like, and by the way, it doesn't mean that I haven't ran out of money. It just
Right.
means that
I'm organized.
I was unwilling to pay more for running out of money.
Yep. And I'm so willing to just like move forward
And
at
that's
any cost.
and that's 90% of America
Yep.
is that and it's not because they want to, it's because they
No.
don't feel like there's another path.
Right.
And then it's a snowball effect, right?
Correct. A negative snowball.
Yeah. Now there's some regulations that have come in since, I mean, this is 20 years ago, but there's some regulations that
like
have come
Dodd-Frank.
in. Dodd-Frank Act. Yes.
I
And
know things.
Yes, you do. That was a nice poll. So, things like overdraft fees have been limited, but like I know things about, so here's another great example. Like I know things about your credit card debt that you probably don't know. Right. On average, like I could reduce your credit card expenses probably by knowing what I know that you don't know.
That's amazing.
And so the idea is not so much that I'm increasing your income, because that's hard to do for working in middle class.
I help people do that. So we just have to team up.
Okay. Well, maybe
I
so.
help people negotiate up 10% all the time.
Sure.
That's
sure,
a consulting service.
Fair. Fair enough. And maybe those are add-on services.
Yeah.
But we're not necessarily in my plan, I'm not necessarily adding income. I'm reducing the spending that is unnecessary.
Right.
And then I'm creating a model where you get to, get to live in a framework.
I definitely want to ask the question. So let's say I'm the customer and I'm sitting there and I'm looking at my bills and I don't really know what I see. Do I just say, hey, this is the money you have to spend? Like, do I have a special card that I have?
Yeah,
Wow, I used to have $3,000 in my bank account, but now I have $35 for coffee. This feels bad. Like, they're going to feel that, right? So how do you mitigate that?
So these are some of the problems, right? Like, what do you do with the unexpected, like the incidentals? What do you do with the things that like the car breaks down and that's not like you've got to create scenarios for all of these things, which is very complicated.
Oh yeah, so complicated.
But
You could do that with a control group though.
You could do it with a control
I
group,
love
and
this.
you could do it with a segmented account, right? So part of your financial plan, because there would be an onboarding piece of this as well, right? So part of that financial plan is like, what are we gonna allocate to your emergency fund?
This would help people much. This would free anxiety.
I believe that. I just feel like the problems are so great.
It's worth further discussion off air, but like I literally think if you took like your TikTok and you were to just build a bigger audience around the normal content, the anti-Dave Ramsey, it's right. I feel like the audience would help you work out the kinks. So every now and then you bring up some of this concept and then you just see how people respond, because you'll get the average person viscerally responding in a tiny comment.
Sure.
You just organize that, have an assistant organize that in an Airtable, and it'll start to go. You could give that to a product owner, like a software product owner. They could take that data and go feature. They will just come back to you with features. No, better than that. They will go to a designer and then they will go, I want these features in a design, but the user flow and experience has to be good. Then you review designs of the thing that you kickstarted. And literally you would go, okay, but this part won't work logistically. You make a few changes and massage it that way before any money is spent.
How much money does that process cost though? I bet it's 10 grand.
I would go 20.
Think 20?
Yeah.
Are you talking about designed essentially 2D designs that you're reading like a page in a book, or are you talking about a functional?
I'm talking about a functional UI design of maybe the website, web app, let's say, of that. This is a services platform,
Right.
but the thing that people interface with is essentially the computer, right? So you wouldn't not do it that way because it'd be crazy.
Sure.
But obviously, org design. But the question for like clarifying, like how does the user feel with the value prop? How do I price these things? People generally shop the same way, and it's usually a website or a web app. That can help you. That's probably the skinniest result for the best business plan.
That feels similar to like what Mint does, or anything like that.
With a whole services vision.
The issue is, how do you nudge people with their money to say, hey, this is how you do it? Because every bank is doing this, but they're not fully getting it across the finish line to the degree that you want to do.
Well, I think that the marketing is very direct in saying you suck at money.
Yeah.
That's great.
I don't.
That's what I heard when you said it, and I heard I'm your buyer.
Yeah, and the hard part about it is the reason why I say it's a little patronizing is because we're actually owning the fact that 90%, 95% of people are not financially intelligent enough, and worse, are not going to do the work to get there.
Good marketing doesn't talk down, but it exposes the pain. So you might,
of course, but you get the point of what I'm saying. Is like that sucks for people to.
Right.
They have to. That's the hurdle.
This sucks for you. That marketing right there. This sucks for you. Is so empathetic, but it's the same problem.
Yeah, but then you've also got like the cultural implications of it, of like conservatorships and like Britney Spears and like the whole, like I could totally see that.
Yeah, but those customers who actually are that dumb are not going to buy this anyways.
No. I think you open yourself up to lawsuits and it can get
of course,
messy.
But there's a way to handle those.
I still think this is a good idea. And I still think the way to start it is you do it with 10 people, and then you do it with 20 people, and then you do it like just get the kinks worked out, and then
And I think probably the work around the regulatory issues is that you invoice for the created budget instead of banking the total finance. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's smart. That's
agreed.
smart.
So I think you invoice, and at that point you also keep a certain amount of control in the hand of the user.
How amazing would it be to turn down customers because they paid you, let's say for the first step of this audit, they paid you $200 to do the audit this week, and then your audit says you can't afford this service.
Bro, this is how you do it. Yeah, you have to create the massive hurdle at the beginning. You say, hey, in order to get the service, you actually need $5,000 in the bank, which is hard for a lot of people. But there is a pre-program that you can do, and we're going to help you get to that thing. But if you don't actually qualify, then you can't do it.
But that's where you take people to something very scalable. Like we have free materials for you. If you can't qualify to use us, we'll just tell you how we do it all. And here's the educational materials. That's just a video camera.
That way,
and
they're
a smart
personally
guy.
getting over as many of the hurdles that they can, and then they're like, "Sweet, I'm in the spot where we can actually do this."
Then this is really good. Then you would take a nonprofit wing of this and say, and we're fundraising for financial intelligence, like people who are empathetic to help people out of poverty. So this is actually a nonprofit wing that helps people who really can't afford the concierge.
Yeah. So, and for sure, I think the element of what makes this, what combats the negative narrative is that we're not just we're not band-aiding problems by not letting people grow up. We're actually creating financial education resources. Paths. That's great. Great marketing. We're creating paths to get, because the end goal is not the conservatorship, if that's the word we're using. No. The end goal is empowered, financially intelligent people.
Which then, to all the mamas and papas out there, they would feel much more powerful in raising their children to be financially literate. I didn't go to college.
It's ironic too, because it's with the word literate.
I didn't catch the irony.
That's great.
So that's an interesting point, though, because what if this
could change the world?
Well, and what if the design of it is that
multi-generational?
This is the path that you take to learn about money, because the big disconnect here is that nobody's teaching it in school.
That's right.
So then
I was so pissed.
Oh, right. So that's a whole nother conversation on another day. But the interesting point about this is going like the cultural implication is, what if this is where we all start with money? We just give it to somebody who knows how to do it.
Wow. Yeah. And then we learn while they do it with our money.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd go that far.
And you still have autonomy. No, you can still give them autonomy back.
Yeah.
They're always going to have autonomy.
Yeah.
There's no contract.
Yeah. You can quit. right?
It's your money.
You can make that secure.
Yeah. But teaching yourself, hey, this is how we do money. I just give it to somebody who's smarter than me. No, actually, I really like that. I'd do that. I would definitely do that.
Well, I mean, what's the difference between that and what's happening now?
People are idiots now, and they're just doing what they think is
People
right,
will
and they have
always be
not done their
idiots.
homework.
Right. So which is worse?
I'm not saying what's worse. I'm saying as a customer, what do I want to hear? But I think you're
He's
right.
a marketing guy.
Yeah, I get it.
I'm a
We
marketing
established that last episode.
That's funny. That's funny. Okay, this is a good idea.
like
I
it.
feel like we've belabored the idea. I
for it.
want you to
Yeah.
start this, and I will invest in your idea.
Oh.
Yeah.
Seed round or like Series A?
I mean, he's a pre-seed guy.
Yeah. Pre-seed.
It's-
Wow.
Pre-seed.
Generally
Yep.
precede.
So he's a
Precede all
ground
my
floor
thoughts.
type of fella. In
Okay.
fact, you want a co-founder, it's Dustin.
Wow.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Hey,
So
listen,
I have one final. Oh, keep going. Yes.
Oh, no. Go ahead.
No. I have one final question. And this is a fun one, guys. Before we go out, if you were in prison, what business would you start?
When you were in prison,
Oh yeah, you were in prison. Hey, what'd you
I
start
wasn't
there?
in prison. I just
No,
spent
you
a
told me
night
you were in
a
prison.
Mexican. Okay, so that's a story for another podcast.
Great. Let's never tell the
Wait,
story
wait.
though. No. I wanna freaking never tell that story and have everybody wonder what the story is.
okay, but then we tell the story on camera and we put that behind a paywall.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's $1.
That's terrible.
It's
That's
$1.
terrible.
It's $1 to hear Michael tell it, and we're gonna donate that to charity.
But let me
my charity that ultimately
charity.
got me put in a
Let's do
Mexican
that.
prison.
Let's
Okay.
do that.
I like
but
that.
let me ask you this one thing about the Mexican prison: was it on the scale of terrifying to not scary at all? Where was it?
Oh, it was mortifying.
Okay, that's great. Don't tell me anymore. That's fantastic. Okay, so let's say you're in prison now. What business do you start while you're in prison?
Oh, jeez.
I have so many ideas to fundraise for your nonprofit now.
Dude, I would love that.
That one alone,
That's a great idea.
because it's not $1, it's a pay what you will,
Sure.
but $1 is a minimum, and it's all going to the nonprofit. And here's what the nonprofit does.
Yeah,
We could do that this week. We could stand that up this week.
I love that.
Okay.
Let's talk. Gosh. I could think of a million businesses, but I'm a basic bitch. So I would probably, I would probably do some sort of like food service thing. Like,
Okay.
Oh.
and I would
So
probably,
you're selling the cup of noodles.
yeah, something
I
like
got 15 of them.
that. Yeah.
But money's not really the same there. So what do you get?
What do you mean money's not? Oh, well, no, they've got money.
They've got money, but you're not going to spend it on anything. Value's different in prison.
Listen, maybe I don't have the grid for the prison
I
system.
asked you this
that
because
could-
you've experienced prison and you've
That's
been in
for
that
like
culture.
12
I figured you
hours.
would know.
and in a different language.
Man, I just thought you were.
This
No,
segment.
honestly, when you said a cup of noodles, that was kind of a cop out. What I was really thinking was toilet wine,
Toilet wine.
That would work.
You're
That would work. I had a friend who was
which is a manufacturing business, by the way.
wait.
great. That's a great idea.
Is toilet wine brought to the consumer yet?
Like,
I mean,
Like wine
like
in a
as a
box.
product?
Like that should be the toilet wine should be the
no,
brand
nobody's
name.
buying that. Like that's
I could see this at Target, in a
or,
box.
No,
or more
no.
importantly, Spencer's.
yeah. It would be there.
There you go.
Well, you can't buy it.
So this is
Oh my
okay. Wait,
God.
here's an example of
Okay.
a don't build the business first. Do you want to hustle this? Go get the email of the VP of purchasing at Spencer's. Here's how I would do that. I would go on LinkedIn. I would sign up for the free trial of Sales Navigator, which is normally $70 a month. I would type in VP of product or something or purchasing.
I have Sales Navigator,
Okay.
so you can use it for free.
Okay. No, no, we're telling the listeners. So,
The listeners can use it too.
okay. Wow.
What's the login real fast? Can you just
Yeah. It's the
Okay.
same as my bank
No.
account.
Oh, perfect.
Let me lay out the steps.
Michael
So-
6969.
So the next step,
God.
the next step
666.
is to take that person's first name, last name at spencers.com or whatever their domain is. And then you drop it into like, Google this, like get a email address, anymailfinder.com. There's different ones, Hunter.io. You drop first name, last name, and their domain in, and it will try all of the different possibilities of what their work email might be. So it'll be like last name, first initial, it might be. And it will not email them. It'll just tell you this one's the one. Then you can email that dude and be like, hey, I have a startup. It's toilet wine. I think it'd be perfect for Spencer's. And you make a landing page on Squarespace today and you just fill it out, make it look real. And if that dude says how much, you're in business.
You'd have to email him 30 times, but
That's fine.
eventually you'd get through.
No, you'd email him. You'd email him, and then you'd find some sort of strategic way to drop him a gift that included toilet wine.
Right. Which you can mail people gifts, right? And that's easy to do. You can find the corporate address of Spencer's, all that stuff. So you just need to think guerrilla and get the right person's attention, pitch them the idea, and don't build the business until they validate the idea.
I think it's great.
Let's end.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's good. Thanks for the pod. Michael will be back again someday.
If you like today's episode, first, reach out to Michael Miller on Instagram and TikTok.
At Dead Presidents
Club. At Dead Presidents Club.
TikTok is at Dead Presidents Club. Instagram is at Just Dead Presidents.
At Just Dead Presidents. That's confusing. There's two. You need a link tree, my friend. Okay, and if you would like to join our private community, why don't you DM Dustin and I on IdeaDrop at Instagram. If you would like to buy the Starfish and the Spider, I do not have an affiliate link, and I do not like that crap. Just go buy it.
Hey guys, if you like what we're talking about, this is where we talk about the ideas. On our private community is where we talk about how to bring those to life. So if you want to find out more, go to our TikTok, go to our Instagram, go to our link tree, and that's where you can get plugged in with people who are building businesses. Anything to say, Kendall?
It's $1 for your first week, and then it's $37 a quarter to stay in the club. We're going to kick you out if you're not building a business.
See you there.